Welcome back to JB Reviews. I got a 2023 Ford Tremor on this side, and I have a Chevy, which is a 2023 also, Silverado TrailBoss. Now, I was hoping to do this video with a ZR2, but what I'll do is I will show you guys some numbers from a previous video that I did, and we'll use those numbers. But special shout out to Larry H. Miller in Salt Lake City. This is the Super Ford store. And Jerry Seiner Chevrolet here in Salt Lake City as well. They did allow me to do this video, so let's go ahead and get into it. We're gonna drive the Ford first. I just reset the fuel mileage at the dealer. We're gonna go ahead and head down the road. This is my first time actually driving a Ford F150 Tremor. This is probably the only one I've been really looking forward to drive because, you know, it has the general grabber tires, which are 33-inch tire, 275/70. And yeah, I mean, this truck is already comfortable, so having a little bit more sidewall might enhance that a little bit. But I'll go ahead and check back in a second. We're gonna go ahead and hop on the interstate here. It's a little bit of traffic right now, so I gotta get this video in quick. We're on the highway, and as I've said in the past, these are the most comfortable half tons on the market today. No other year, in my opinion, like from like 2015 and earlier trucks, they just didn't ride like this. I mean, this truck rides so nice. And I do think having the extra sidewall, it's just great. It's a really high performing truck. And the general grabber tires are quiet. So, you know, I should start putting in some information for tires because honestly, I've always been a fan of these tires. I've had them on other cars and they really perform well. Now here's some of the RPMs right here, 63 miles an hour. I'm doing 1600 RPMs. Now 373 rear is gonna probably make this run a little higher. I did do a video on a hybrid, which is the power boost. And you can go back and watch that video if you like, but I think the RPMs ran close to, you know, 2000 RPMs, like above 75 miles an hour. Because this road we're on now, you know, if you're running with this pace of traffic, typically it's 75 or 80 miles an hour, typically. I'm gonna go ahead and get over here. Gotta be careful. Oh man, that's one thing I will say about this Ford powertrain. It is super torquey, super torquey. So already at 75 miles an hour, I was almost about to cross over to 1900 RPMs. But let me get over around this truck. Here we go. Yep. To about 80 miles an hour, you're running about 2000 RPMs, which isn't bad. It's not bad at all. So under the hood of the Ford is the 3.5 liter EcoBoost. This thing is a beast. 400 horsepower, 500 pound-feet of torque, 10-speed transmission, 373 gears. What can't you not say good about this truck? I mean, they just added an option to get the 5-liter V8 now too, which is a huge step for Ford because they love their twin turbo V6s. Here's the midpoint, exit 297. So this is where we're gonna get off with both trucks. And check that out, 17.1 MPG. We're gonna coast down. The light is red ahead. I have had a little bit of stops on this one, like even leaving the dealership, there's a little bit of traffic on that road there. But yeah, this is not terrible. Now, I stayed out of the boost that whole drive. I want you guys to keep that in mind. So if you're driving a twin turbo V6, you gotta stay out of that boost. Now, I will try to do a 0 to 60 with this truck. Now, you guys know these Ford trucks are ridiculous. So I do wanna see a 0 to 60 with this compared to the 6.2 liter. That's gonna be pretty amazing. But like I said, once the light turns green, we'll head back the opposite direction and then we will discuss a few more things. I will say that the steering does feel a little loose in this truck. And normally when you get an off-road truck, you do get a softer suspension. But for this one here, let's see if let me see. I'm in normal mode right now. I'm gonna put it in sport. Let me see if that tightens up the steering a little bit. Oh man, that did tighten up the steering. I'm gonna put it in normal mode though. I wish that they had like a custom like page where you can change some of this, like where you can get a tighter steering feel, and there might be a way to do that. I haven't really deep dived into these systems, but in normal mode, I don't like the way this feels. This feels a little too soft for me. But overall, the seats are comfortable, visibility. I mean, it's a truck, so you're gonna always have that seat pillar. But apart from that, I mean, this is a great performing truck. Now, this truck is not that heavy because most people know this by now. This truck does have an aluminum body. And here are the numbers for this truck: 7,000 pound GWR. You see the axle numbers there. And all in, 1,589 pounds of payload capacity, which means this truck only weighs 5,411 pounds. One thing I don't like about this cluster is they don't give you a lot of information. Like, I do like that you can see the temperatures. Like, it only shows that they're in operating range. But I like to see like hard numbers. I like to see the transmissions at 180 degrees. I like to see the oil at 200. I like to see those things. The coolant's here. But Ford doesn't seem to want to give you that information. Now, if you're looking at a Super Duty, they do give you some information for those pickups. And a positive of this is I love that they show you what gear you're in. So if you were to accelerate, like I just tapped the accelerator just now, it dropped down to 7th gear. Now it's gonna climbing back through to 10th gear again. I like that they do that. That's a really cool feature. And you'll see in that Chevy that they don't do that. Man, that sway is definitely there. And it's not because of the tires, it's the steering feel. Like, I feel like I'm kind of overcorrecting it a little bit. Yeah, I really think that Ford makes some of the best half tons. Like, even though Ram has really held the title for the best interior, this is pretty much in the league of its own. These seats are very comfortable. And I've never really been a fan of twin turbo V6s. I've said this a lot, but when you feel that torque, you have to put your feelings aside. You just have to. And I do find that this is probably the best configuration. Even though they did add the 5-liter for 2023, I would have to think about it. Even though I don't really care for the sound and just the idea of having twin turbos, I don't keep my cars that long. So in my mind, I'm thinking this would probably be what I'd have to choose because it makes the most sense, especially if you do plan on hauling something or towing something. Before I run the 0 to 60, I want to show you guys the numbers just with the drive. So 16.9 miles driven, 17.6 MPG. So the tires do make a little difference for fuel economy. So if you want this more aggressive truck, you might really want to kind of use it for its purpose because you're going to take a hit. Now, I don't mind taking a hit because I like more aggressive tires, so I'm okay with that. But yeah, this is definitely lower than what I've seen in the past. All right, here's 0 to 60. We made it back to the dealership, and I'm actually really surprised by the fuel economy. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just, it is what it is. But I mean, we did do that acceleration, so we're gonna stop next to this Chevy Silverado 3500 with a dump bed on it. 16.5 at 23 minutes and 39 seconds driven, 17.7 miles. There it is. Let's jump in the Silverado. I really wish I could have done the video with the ZR2, but I'm glad we got a TrailBoss with the 6.2 liter. Something I want to note is these tires are not that good. I think that GM should run with the trail runners on this Silverado TrailBoss. I don't know why, but these dirt tracks, even below 30 miles an hour, they're loud. But I don't know what it is about this interior. I feel right at home, and I think that's something that GM has always done well. Despite them not having a good interior from basically 2019 on to about 2022, they did a really good job incorporating that simplicity in this new interior, and it's really good. I feel like with this, it's just easier to read. I like the overall readout for the cluster better, and now I gotta listen to these really loud tires again. But overall, this is a really good truck. The interior's nice, but like I said, that ZR2 I think really was a little bit more closer with that Ford F-150 for this test, but we still have the engine that we needed. We're on the highway, and I do like the readout better for like the RPMs with the Ford. They gave you a digital number versus what GM does here. You don't really know exactly the RPM you're in. I gotta speed up a little bit. And as I mentioned, you do not see what gear you're in. Now I know people are gonna say, well, you can put it in, you know, L and it'll show you, but my problem is you don't know exactly the gear you're in. So I'm in there, and like I said, you don't know what gear you're in. That's just showing you the gear that you set. So I prefer that GM give you a nice readout for that. But apart from that, I mean, hey, this truck is still really good. Now I'm gonna get up to about 80 miles an hour. Because that's about what I was doing with the Ford. And I apologize, it's so dark. I can't look down and drive, obviously, so hopefully you guys can see that a little bit better now. But I'm at, wow, 323 gears for the win. I'm under 2,000 RPMs versus over. So that's something you have to consider when you're doing your tests. I mean, I like doing MPG runs because I feel like they're helpful for people who are really considering that as a factor. I mean, I like to save money when I can, but obviously if you want a truck like this, you're not gonna save money because it's off-road, so you might wanna go with something a little different. So here it is, 6.2 liter V8, 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque, 10-speed transmission just like the Ford. The only difference is this does have a 323 out back. So I think that's gonna make the difference for this truck. And obviously, let's face it, a V8 is naturally aspirated, so you don't have to worry about all that boost that's gonna really hurt your fuel economy, especially if you don't know how to drive a twin turbo V6. Visibility is pretty much the same as the Ford. I don't see any advantage in either one. But like I said, the interior is really comfortable. The steering in this one's tighter, even in normal mode. I like the mirrors better too because you have a convex, and I've always said this, Ford's mirrors sit low. So I do like these a lot better, and I like to have that convex too because it does give you a nice vision on the side here. Now obviously these trucks do have blind spot monitoring and all that crap, but sometimes it's just good to have good old-fashioned mirrors. And the only negative about this truck is a little bit more stiffer for sure. And another issue is the tire noise. It's not good. It's definitely loud. Like I would have to keep the radio on in this truck. Exit 297. So we're at the midpoint basically, and here is the fuel economy. I'll show you guys a snapshot of what the Ford F-150 is too, but not bad. 16.8, and this is perfect because I actually stopped at this light last time too, so this is perfect. Here we are, 17.1. Now this truck does have auto stop start, the Ford does not, so I just want to make that clear. I did not turn it off on this truck, so there you go. Now I'll check back in one last time and then we'll do the 0 to 60 in a little bit. So here are the numbers for this Chevy Silverado. Now this does not have as many options as the Ford behind me. So the Ford has running boards, leather seats, that's probably pretty much it. I mean, a little bit bigger tire. So this truck is ironically a little bit lighter, so 5,367 pounds, but it does have 100 pounds more of GVWR, which is going to give you a little bit more payload. So 1,733 pounds is what it is. Some of the disadvantages I will say between the Ford and the Chevy is I think this truck does handle slightly better than the Ford, 100%. But I think where really Chevy falls short in this segment, and it's just my opinion, is that small 24-gallon fuel tank. No option for anything else. Now, some of the other competitors do have smaller tanks, but if you look at Ford, if you look at Toyota Tundra, if you look at the Ram, they all have an option for a 30-gallon plus tank, at least an option. So that's something that I think Chevy needs to fix, and they should just do an update to it this year, I think, because that's the only thing that I will say if I was looking to buy one of these trucks. That'd be the biggest like negative, because you know I like to have the bigger tanks. I just think because you're not getting much more than 20 miles a gallon in some cases with these trucks, it would just be nice to have a bigger fuel tank. So that's the only thing I would say negative. So hopefully they fix it. Fix it, Chevy. All right, before I show you guys the 0 to 60, look where I'm at, 17.8. Wow, that is insane. That's really good, by the way, too. I'm actually really surprised how good it is because of the, more aggressive tires, a little bit higher ride height, things like that. That is not bad at all, guys. One last thing too, before I show you guys, it's the same issue with Chevy. They don't show you a digital readout for your temperatures. They just let you know that everything's within range. We just pulled back into the dealership, and wow. And I will probably venture to say that I drove a little bit faster with this truck too, because the traffic was a little bit lighter on this run. So we got a ½ mile per gallon better with the Chevy. So what'd you guys think about that video? I'm actually really surprised that the 6.2 liter can get better fuel economy. But then again, I'm not surprised because of that axle ratio. I think that made the biggest difference here. And listen, this truck did well in another video I did too, so you go back and watch. I did a video with the highest trim level Ram 1500 and Chevy Silverado together. You should check it out. And let me just show you one last thing. I'll show you guys some of the animation on the Chevy since it won. Ready for this? It's pretty cool, isn't it? But I think I like the General tires a lot better than the Goodyears on this truck. I think they should run with the Trail Runners. They're not as aggressive, but they're a lot quieter. But be sure to subscribe to your channel, guys, if you haven't done so yet. Got some other great videos coming soon. See you in the next video. Oh yeah, by the way, Jerry Seiner, Chevy, Larry H. Miller, Superstore Ford in Salt Lake City. Be sure to check out their inventory, guys. Thank you.